All right, so we have this from the Post Millennial. A woman extradited to the U.S. over smuggling operation on Canadian border, where a family of 4 drowned in 2023. A dual citizen of Canada and the United States appeared in a New York federal court on Friday after being extradited from Canada to face charges stemming from a human smuggling operation that led to the deaths of a family of 4 in the St. Lawrence River. Stephanie Square, nerd, fucking square, dork, nerd, of the Kawasin, I don't know, Mohawk Indian Res in Canada was indicted in June 2024 by a federal grand jury in the Northern District of New York. She faces charges of conspiring to engage in human smuggling, 4 counts of smuggling for profit, and 4 counts of smuggling resulting in death. Square
How
was
is
a
there smuggling from Canada to the United States? That just sounds wrong. I could see Mexico to the States, but Canada to the States, it just seems really
what?
weird.
We have the largest unprotected border in the world.
But that's just not the point. That just doesn't seem like, I don't know. That just doesn't seem like a thing. That's just so weird to me. But carry on.
Oh no, this happens a lot. It happens a lot. In fact, a lot of the stuff that when it was coming from Mexico, they would come from like southern Texas or whatever, get flown up to like Rochester, New York, and there are taxis that actually have they advertise literally to the Canadian border. And then they get shit, the taxi comes up there, the RCMP meets them at this
But yeah, you're literally
crossing.
saying from that way into here. That makes sense. But Canada into the States, that's just weird. Just go. Like, I don't understand.
I know. Couldn't you guys like literally just walk across?
Right?
Like there's really nothing stopping you now, but I don't know. It's well, I guess in 2023 it was still old Dementia Joe was kicking around. So, there's a lot
Wouldn't
that
even
was going up with
notice.
that. Well,
Yeah,
exactly.
they left the borders wide open. Like, you could have just easily walked over. Like, I don't understand.
Well,
Okay, so how did
there was that one. Remember, there was that family that was crossing from Manitoba, I think, into like North Dakota. They ended up freezing to death because it was like minus 40 outside.
stop? But how did they freeze to death though? Were
Because
they
they
not in
didn't
a
have
vehicle?
no, they were walking during a
Oh,
snowstorm.
a bunch of idiots. Pick the wrong day.
So Square was arrested in Canada in August of 2024 at the request of U.S. authorities. Her extradition marks a major development in a cross-border case that required close coordination between American and Canadian law enforcement agencies. According to court documents, Square allegedly led a human smuggling organization that transported migrants from across the Canada-U.S. border through the Aquasine Mohawk Indian Reservation. In late March of 2023, investigators said a Canadian smuggler contacted Square to move a Romanian family of 4, 2 adults and 2 small children, across the St. Lawrence River into the United States. Despite warnings of dangerous weather, Square allegedly directed her associates to proceed with the operation. On the night of March 29th, 2023, the family was taken to the home of a co-conspirator, Timothy Oakes, on Cornwall Island, a well-known hub for smuggling activity. Surveillance footage later captured Oakes towing a small boat towards a public launch. Within hours, residents reported hearing cries for help on the river amid rough conditions. Authorities launched a search and found the bodies. Yeah, so their bodies were found months later. Sorry. So
Oh God. So,
we are seeing a bigger trend with this.
but
More
like,
and more people are coming from Canada, entering into the United States.
but I don't understand how they drowned exactly. So they were in a boat. Like, were they underneath and the boat struck a leak? Like, I don't understand how they drowned, or did they just take
Bad
the money
weather.
and throw them over? Like,
Bad weather. Who knows? It could have been. Well, this was in March, so it could be. Wind was kicking up. It was snowing. St. Lawrence River doesn't freeze, so
okay, but I mean, the people driving the boat made it, so why didn't they? Like, that's just what I don't understand. Why didn't they make it? Where were they being kept? That they, with the bad weather, they never made it.
well, they were being towed in by a boat to get to the United States side and didn't make it.
But were they in a box? Were they in the bottom of a boat hidden? Like
Motherfucker, did I just read this to myself? In March 2023, investigators said a Canadian smuggler contacted Square to move a Romanian family of 4, 2
uh-huh.
adults and small children, across the
Yeah.
St. Lawrence River into the United States. Despite warnings of dangerous weather, Square allegedly directed her associates to proceed with the operation. On the night of March 29th, 2023, the family was taken to the home of a co-conspirator, Timothy Oakes, on Cornwall Island, a well-known hub for smuggling activity. Surveillance footage later captured Oakes towing a small blue boat. So towing.
I heard the towing part, but that's just it. I mean, we could be sitting in if it's a fishing boat, we could be being towed in a fishing boat and it'd be fine. Were we underneath the boat? Hidden some
They
that's
were
just where my
being
mind is going.
towed. They
I
were
know.
being towed by another boat.
Yeah.
And whether it capsized or whatever actually happened, I don't know. I didn't see the court case.
They need to give more they need to give more information, because clearly I'm not the only one that's got questions. I mean, it really sucks. And I get the fact that, okay, people died. So long story short, yeah, people died in their little smuggling thing. And that's extremely unfortunate. I just need to know more detail.
No, prosecutors allege that Square recruited several accomplices for the smuggling scheme, including Timothy Oakes, who remains in custody awaiting trial. What the hell? Get a normal name. Dakota Montour. I'm not even gonna try to. Yeah, so it doesn't say specifically as to why. All they said is that they ended up hearing screams for help later. So obviously they were supposed to hit this launch, didn't, whether they got capsized or what. All I'm saying is I'm using this as a jumping off point for a bigger argument that a lot more human trafficking is now taking place from Canada into the United States. And because Canada has basically anything that's illegal in the United States, Canada just goes, yeah, it's legal. 500,000 people a year? Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah. Which I don't know. That's so weird to me. It's hard for me to wrap my head around people being smuggled from Canada into the United States. That just sounds weird. Once you said okay, Romanian, okay, and then Nokian's point, can't cross if you have a criminal record and shit like that. But I mean, the thing is, if you came into Canada to begin with from Romania, I don't know if you can come into Canada with a criminal record, even though the people they let in. I'm really second guessing that.
Well,
I don't know.
The thing is, we see this going on more and more, but with the United States, kind of the thing that kept the United States and Canada so safe is that we have giant oceans on either side of us kind of protecting us. Well, now that veil has been pierced, a lot of people are coming into Canada claiming asylum, and then they go south, or they come here as a student on a student visa. If it's a family of 4 from Romania, that's to me that sounds like maybe some type of refugee or asylum thing. I don't know.
Well, and that's fair. I mean, it's pretty easy to get into Canada, apparently. So yeah, you're going to pick Canada over the United States because it's easier to get into, and then I'll just sneak into the United States. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's unguarded. It's an unguarded border.
What are you talking about? Our border is so guarded.
Yeah, you can literally blow up American soldiers and you'll get a $10 million payout. No,
oh God, right?
Actually, there's a lot of terrorist organizations, a lot of Iranian officials. There's been Al Qaeda leaders, Hamas leaders, ISIS leaders have come to Canada seeking asylum.
That's fair. Yep. It's just disgusting.
So, when that whole discussion of the United States saying that Canada, we can't trust you anymore, you guys are, whatever's going on up there, we're not we don't like whatever you guys are doing, whatever type of influence operation that you guys got going on or that you're subject to. And if we're importing 500,000, in fact, Mark Carney said he wants 25% of Canada's population to remain immigrant.
I
What
feel
the
like it's more than that. Like, I could be wrong, but I feel like it's definitely more than just 25%, because I don't know where I'm from or live, reside, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. I definitely see a lot more non-Canadians,
But this is okay,
non-born
but this is
Canadians.
the point. This is what you don't understand. Immigrants. So when someone becomes a permanent resident or gets their citizenship in Canada, they're no longer considered an immigrant. You see how that works?
Okay, well, that's why I said non-Canadian born.
I know, but
I
that's why
reworded.
that's why I'm saying 25% of Canada's I believe it's labor market or population. I can't remember it specifically. I'd have to look at exactly what he said, but I think it was Canada's population to remain 25% immigrant. And he wanted to keep immigrating 1% of Canada's population per year. So 1% of 40 million people is still 400,000 people.
God damn, that's a lot of people.
That's half the size of Winnipeg a year. And now give those people jobs. Now give them housing.
Don't forget
Or
about the
not
money.
not even give them housing, have houses so that they can live in them or apartment or fucking something. A lot of people that are actually immigrating into Canada are saying there's no opportunities here. So they leave and they go to the United States. A lot of them are doing that. I think it was actually the Toronto Star was doing a story on that like last year, saying that Indians coming to Canada can't find work and are actually leaving and going to the United States.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Actually, one girl that I work with, she came from India, and she used to work for a company that it was like, oh God, why can't I think of it? Bioscience or something like that. Like the stuff with like deadly viruses and shit like that, whatever you call those people. Biochemists. I don't know, whatever. But she actually used to work with a company from the United States, but in India. When she came to Canada, she tried, like, she couldn't find work here. And she tried reaching out to the company she used to work for. And they said because she's in Canada, they can't. If she
So
was in the
I'm
States or India, they could.
so I'm looking at so this is an AI response. So take it as you will. So Mark Carney does not want to import 25% of Canada's population, but I believe I could have sworn that he said that he wants to maintain. See, I'm getting okay. Well, this is what AI is saying. In fact, his government's immigration strategy aims to significantly reduce immigration levels to address pressure on housing, healthcare, and public services. The plan sets permanent resident admission targets at 395,000 for 25, 380, 365, preceding years, which represent a reduction from the previous target of 500,000. So, as I said, 400,000 people, so still 1%. These numbers are intended to keep permanent resident admissions below 1% of Canada's population annually after 27. As of January 2025, temporary resident accounted for approximately 7.25% of Canada's population, and the government aims to reduce this to less than 5 by 28. The strategy emphasizes sustainable growth, quality over quantity, and aligning immigration with Canada's infrastructure capacity. So that's what AI is saying. But we have this from Mark Carney's bold immigration strategy for Canada. Okay. Mark Carney's leadership signals a shift from aggressive population growth strategies to a more sustainable model during his campaign. Okay, get back on track. Newcomers to Canada, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, so keep an annual permanent resident emission below 1%. So 1% of Canada's population. This stands in stark contrast to ambitious under Trudeau, reached 500,000. 500,000. Canada, or I think Winnipeg is like 1.1 or 1.2 million people. But even still, 400,000 people a year, almost 400,000. To strengthen French-speaking minority regions, the Liberals plan to increase Francophone immigration targets to 12% by 2029, rising steadily from 8.5 to 10%. Prioritizing economic immigration, skilled talent. Economic immigration will continue to dominate public or permanent residency, projected to make up 62% of total admissions. To modernize immigration. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Guys, get your tinfoil hats on, fuckers. To modernize immigration process and enhance fairness, the Liberals propose expanding digital processing tools to cut down backlogs and wait times, enhancing legal aid for asylum seekers, increasing resources for border security and immigration fraud. Yeah, okay, because that's not happening. But, okay, so still 400,000 people still a year. Like you think, well, and especially with Trudeau's super aggressive immigration, where we were, like you said, importing almost 500,000 people a year. A year. It's still absolutely insane. I think the Americans are going to start actually enforcing even border crossings up in Canada. I think it's going to get stronger because I think the United States now sees Canada as a problem.
Yeah. I could definitely see that. 400, 500,000 a year, whichever you want to throw it there. Both of that is just a insane number. That is a lot of freaking people. And I mean, like I said, like to me, it feels like more than that. I don't know if maybe be just because we're in a smaller city, but it definitely, I definitely see more other people than I do white people personally.
Right.
But yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna reword this question. So just percent immigrant. Okay, so there's no
Facts.
information. Okay.
Got the money, they can do it pretty quickly. Absolutely.
I could have sworn I see it. I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering. But I just remember when I heard that the 25%, that's why it's sticking so, so prominently in my head. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just misheard. That is a possibility.